Live. Has it started? There we are. We are live. Okay, today's date is 4/22. It's Earth Day. Yay. Now, so the objective, what we're going to do is, yes. You guys are getting? Sorry, girls. So I'm going to give you several formulas. Write them down. Don't lose this sheet because when the next test comes, you won't have to memorize formulas, correct? So just write them down. So first of all, what we're going to do today is talk about angles inside and outside of polygons. So polygon is just a word that means many sides. All of these shapes are polygons. Hexagons, octagons, pentagons, those are polygons, okay? Poly means many, gons means size, okay? So the interior sum angle theorem. We saw that when we were actually doing our little activity. We saw the formula was, okay, so we want the sum is equal to 180 times n minus 2. And n stands, of course, for the number of sides or the number of angles, same thing, okay? So n is just the number of sides. Okay, and we did that. We actually used it for a hexagon. And we took our hexagon, it had 6 sides, and we plugged it in. We used our formula, we plugged the 6 in, 180 times 6 minus 2, and it turned out to be, in this case, 720 degrees. Okay, easy, right? Just plug the number in and use your calculator. Then, we looked at the exterior angle sum. We said no matter what, it doesn't matter what the figure is, the answer, the sum of all the exterior angles is always 360 degrees. And again, what we did is we did a little activity where we drew all the exterior angles. We added up 360. We drew all the exterior angles, added them up, we got 360. Okay. Now, a regular polygon. Well, that's easy. To be a regular polygon, all sides are equal and all angles are equal. Okay? Now, what you can do, if it's regular, and this is really easy to show, what you can do, if it's regular, you can get each individual angle, because they're all the same, right? And that's what Isaac saw, was that we got the 120, and we got all the rest of them. If it's not regular, you can't get the individual angles, right? So what we did is we can take our formula, our 180 times our n minus 2. That gets us all of the sum. And then we just, if we had the answer 720, then we just divide to get 100. We just divide that by the number of sides. So all divided by n. So if you wanted to know an individual interior angle, you'd use the formula to get the sum of all of them. And then just divide it by the number of angles. That makes sense, doesn't it? You get the whole thing, and then divide it by the number of angles. Pretty easy. Exterior angle theorem. So if I knew that it was regular, I could get an individual angle, because they're all the same, by just dividing by the number of angles, right? So my formula would be 360 divided by n, which would be the number of sides. Okay? Pretty easy. Now, with the formulas, you don't have to go through and draw them, and you don't have to measure them. You just use the formula, right? So if I want to do example 1, I wanted an octagon. So I know in an octagon that n is 8, right? So if I want the sum of the interior angles, I'm going to use that formula, right? I'm going to use that formula right up there, because I want the sum of the interior angles. So I'm going to use my formula. So I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to use my sum is equal to 180 times n minus 2, but in this case, n is 8, right? So then I'm just going to plug 8 in. I'll get the sum is equal to 180 times 8 minus 2, which is 180 times 6, right? Yeah, so if I go 180, I just use my calculator times parentheses 8 minus 2, right? and I get an answer of 1,080. Now it seems like a lot, but you're adding all of the angles all the way around. So it's 1080 degrees. Simple? Super easy. Super easy. All you're going to do is use the correct formula. Thumbs up? Okay, example 2. What is an individual angle of this octagon? Well, I'm going to use this formula. I'm going to take my 180 times my n minus 2 and divide it by n. So I already know that all of the angles is 1080, right? And we found that before. So if I go all the way around, I get 1080. But now let's just break it up into the 8 angles. If I divide by 8, Isaac got, by 8, 1080
Well, I thought it was 8
divided by 8.
Subtract.
I get 135 degrees.
Oh, my, that's not.
So each individual angle is 135 degrees. Thumbs up? Just use the formula. It's an easy formula. I mean, this is like 6th grade math. It really is. Okay. Okay, example 3. So in this octagon, I want to know what all of the outside angles are. Okay, so it's kind of like this kind of picture right here, except for it's an octagon. I want to add them all up. Well, that's easy. I already know it's just 360 degrees. If I add them all up, so if I want the sum, it's always 360 degrees. Pretty simple? Okay, but then if I want one of them, I would take the 360, right? If I want one of them, I'd take my 360 and divide it by n, which is the number of sides, which is, in this case, going to be 8, because of an octagon. And, I don't know, what is that, 45, I think?
Yeah, 45.
45? So it's 45 degrees. These two should always add up to 180. I'm going to show you. These two should always add up to, look at this. These two, individual exterior and individual interior should always add up to 180, and you can see why. Because together they make a straight line, don't they? Together they make a straight line, don't they? So they should add up to 180, okay? All right, thumbs up, super easy. Okay, turn the page. Okay.
When is this equal?
Now example 5 is going to take a little bit of algebra, but that doesn't scare me. So, example 5 says this. So if the sum of all interior angles add up to this, okay, so then how many sides? So let's go. Our formula is the sum is equal to 180 times n minus 2. That's my formula, okay? Except for here's the problem. We don't know the number of sides, but we know the answer. So I'm going to put my 2,880 here and find out what polygon got me that answer. So I'm going to do this in backwards. The sum is 2,880 equals my 180 times n minus 2. And what I need to do now is just solve, okay? Now there's two ways to solve. The fast way, which I'm going to do. I don't need to distribute. I can just divide by 180 first. Does that seem faster?
16.
If I just divide by 180, that's actually much faster.
16.
So if I divide by 180, Isaac, did you do that? 288 divided by 180. Oh, I get 16. So I've got 16 equals n minus 2, right? And then plus 2 plus 2.
18.
It's an 18-sided figure. Would give me that many angles, right? That many degrees. Okay, now example 6, pretty easy if we know the sum. Well, let's see, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 5 sides, right? So 5 sides, it's a pentagon. And what I'd like to first of all is know together, what's the total together? So I'm okay, so let's find the sum. So let's find my sum first. Yeah, you're way ahead of me. Which is my 180 times 5 minus 2. I've just used my formula, okay? So all together, if I use my calculator, I get 540, okay? Okay, I'll slow down. So what I needed to do on this one, before I even started, I gotta say, okay, this plus this plus this plus this plus this equals what? It's gotta equal something, right? I don't know.
So wouldn't
It
you
has to equal
angles.
540. So all 5 of these angles,
139.
you're way ahead. Yeah?
So you take 180, 108, 80, and then that's guaranteed to be a 90-degree angle.
Right,
Those
so
together, then subtract that from the calculated total. And divide that by 2.
You are awesome. Yep. So totally right. So let's figure out this, and 90, right? So what's on the side, what's 108 plus 80 plus 90? What'd you get?
278.
278. So our tomb said, okay, if you add up all these angles, subtract it from...
278 from the 540 total.
Totally right. So if
divide that by 2 because there's 2 numbers there.
You're way ahead of me. See what happens when you yes, totally right. So 540, I'm going to do that exactly what you said, Artum, 278. So I get 262, but then I've got x and x, right? So I've got really a 2x equals that because of the, got to divide it in half, right? So divide that by 2, divide that by 2, and I get 131.
131?
Because those have to be equal. Those have to be equal, right? Because it's x and x. Nick, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and move that, okay? All right. Thank you. Good job. So then, the last problem. So, 4x plus 100 plus x plus 154. All 1, 2, 3, 4 of these angles have to add up to something. 360. That's what we learned. Outside angles are always 360, okay? So I know that I can say, all right, they have to add up to 360. So I go my 100 plus my 154 plus my 100 plus my 4x all have to add up to 360. They have to. Oh, plus another x. Oh, there should be 2. Plus an x.
So it's 254 plus 5x.
So what did you get, 254?
Plus 5x.
So I got 254 plus 5x equals 360. Okay, good.
So once you solve then?
Yeah. Yeah. Minus 254, minus 254. Okay.
X equals
360 minus 254 is 106. 5x equals 106. Divide by 5. I got 21.2.
Are you sure 360 moves? Yeah.
Okay. How's that? Thumbs up? All right.